What's up, Nourish fam? Farmer Ash here, reporting Nourish news live from the field, literally. So we're gonna try something a little bit different for Nourish news these weeks, and I'm gonna be recording them out on pasture at our various partner farms so that you can be a little bit more connected to your food and you can experience all of our partner farms and experience life on a farm. So for this week's Nourish News, we might as well start with Angel Acres Farm. And so here we have Bo and then her mom, Josie. So this is our farm, and we are, of course, practicing regenerative agriculture here, which is what we require all of our farmers to do. And so we try to set the standard and what we expect here by what we do the farm. All right, guys. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Guys. Okay. Well, so when we go down, hey, I understand that we all want attention. I'll touch all of you guys. Okay. So today, let's. Ow, she's pulling my hair. Okay. All right, Bo. All right, so today let's talk chicken. So chicken are monogastric animals, so they are not ruminants like cows, and so they cannot be 100% grass-fed. Chickens cannot get all of their energy and protein requirements from grass alone. Now, that does not mean that grass is not beneficial. So eating some blades of grass each day is very helpful to improve chicken health. It also diversifies their nutrient intake. So, you know, they're eating various grasses and potentially some flowers. And then, of course, all of the insects and bugs in the area as well. So having chickens out on pasture diversifies and widens their nutrient intake, also gives them fresh air and sunlight, so when they're exposed to sunlight they can actually produce sufficient vitamin D in their fat and thus in their eggs and their fat in the meat products as well. So they require supplemental feed while they're out on pasture, and that is just to make sure that they have all of their nutrient requirements. That would be like telling us to just survive on grass, and you know that we can't do that, right? So chickens require supplemental feed, and that is kind of what sets us apart here at Nourish, because we made our own feed. So you guys know we say the word low PUFA a lot, and that is low polyunsaturated fatty acid. And I think that that is super important because our human intake of polyunsaturated fatty acids, it's gone way up over the last 100 years with this huge change in agriculture practices. So never before seen levels of corn and soy and other high PUFA crops being grown across the country. And of those crops, like soy is definitely the highest in PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. So when we started this farm, I knew that I wanted to make a low PUFA feed because you are what you eat eats, especially when it comes to chicken and pork. They are essentially vehicles for vegetable oils or other high PUFA ingredients. So if their diet is high in PUFAs, then their eggs and their fat in their meat products will be high in PUFAs as well. So that fatty acid transformation, it goes straight through them, right? So it's very similar to us. If we eat a bunch of PUFAs in our diet, then we are filled with more PUFAs inside of us. And dietary fats, those are important energy molecules, and then also they are structural molecules, so it literally makes up the tissues and structures inside your body, and then they also serve as signaling molecules. So a high PUFA diet is going to signal more like torpor, hibernation. Like, what do squirrels eat when they're about to go into hibernation in the winter? They load up on a bunch of nuts, right? And nuts are very high in PUFAs. So I do not think that we should all be consuming a high PUFA diet, and that is why we are so picky with what our monogastric animals eat. So low PUFA feed, but it's also low in, so it doesn't include corn and soy, but we wanted to make our own feed because other corn and soy free feed options out there are just replacing corn and soy with other high PUFA ingredients like sunflower or sunflower oil or flax. And so we did not want to do that, right? And so instead we decided to make our own. So one of the things that's definitely added to chicken feed is flax, and I am not a fan of flax for several reasons. You guys may have seen my Mercola article about why I'm not a fan of flax. It's very high in phytoestrogens, which are compounds that can mimic estrogen inside of our body and can serve as endocrine disrupting compounds, so messing up our hormones. And that is very well documented. Many people think that they are low in estrogen due to estrogen blood work. However, blood work is not very representative of estrogen levels in our body. So you can be low or like normal in estrogen in your blood work, but then that does not represent what's stored in your tissues. Of course, it's not very feasible to get a tissue biopsy. However, you can get blood work with a metric called prolactin, and your prolactin blood work levels correlate well with your stored estrogen levels. And so I believe that many people are high in estrogen. I don't think that there are many people that are low in estrogen, and that is due to all of the estrogen mimicking compounds that we experience in modern living. So that's going to be, you know, pesticides, other chemicals used in agriculture. Okay, all right, we're going to go to the side bowl. That's also going to be like all the plastics that we're exposed to, and then all of these phytoestrogen compounds such as flax and soy. So flax is the #1 food that is very high in phytoestrogen content, and so I do not think that we should be consuming high levels of flax. And just like PUFAs, those phytoestrogens are well documented to be transported into the eggs and the fat of meat compounds. So that is why we do not want flax in our feed. And so I think that that really sets our feed apart. Low in PUFA, low in phytoestrogens. Our goal with Nourish is to just farm how they were doing. All right, go. Our goal with Nourish is to just farm how they used to be farming back in the day, back in the 1800s, when a lot of these weren't like readily available. Also, like pharmaceutical medicines were not available as well, and there's a lot of vaccine, antibiotic and hormone usage in a lot of conventional agriculture, and even in other types of agriculture. Routine vaccinations are just like a thing. But when you are raising livestock like this outside on pasture, rotating them regularly, making sure that they have healthy living conditions, have fresh air, clean water, and good food access, you don't need those things, right? They didn't have those hundreds of years ago, and we still were able to produce food. So that is our goal with Nourish, and that is what I wanted to talk about today when I wanted to talk about chickens. So of course, chickens and also pigs require that supplemental feed, and we're proud to say that we also have row crop farm partners, which I visited last week in Kansas, and they produce our feed ingredients for our chickens and our pigs. And so we are able to like bridge the gap between row crop agriculture and livestock agriculture, and our row crop farm partners utilize regenerative agriculture practices. So no chemicals, no sprays. We're not allowed to use that O word, organic, because we're not certified organic, and that's a-okay with me, because I do not believe in a lot of what organic agriculture allows for, which is heavy tillage, still some chemical usage. All right, but we're gonna calm down. And so we instead, our row crop farm partners utilize regenerative agriculture practices, no chemicals, no BS. So that's been a cool development over these past couple months, is partnering with those row crop farm partners to add another layer of regenerative agriculture to our food system here at Nourish. So you, me, our Nourish team, our farm partners, we're building an alternative food system together, and the goal is to be independent from the conventional system at all layers and be able to support regenerative agriculture all throughout our food chain here. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Nourish News. The dogs were really excited. They wanted to hang out with you guys as well. And I'll see you guys next week.